Hi, you're very welcome to this channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever questioned why you're always so busy? Why you're constantly running around, feeling distracted, scattered, and never really at rest? We live in a world that's full of distractions more than any generation in history. Television, social media, work demands, endless notifications, and the busyness of everyday life. It's like we're being pulled in 100 directions at once. And yet, underneath it all, we still feel empty. Why is that? Because the world is constantly trying to distract us from the one thing we really need to focus on, and that's what's inside of us. The truth, our soul, our purpose, and the God who created us. The truth is, a lot of people spend their whole lives running from themselves. They avoid silence. They avoid stillness. Because if they stop, the big questions begin to surface. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? Where am I going when this life ends? And maybe the most important of all, is there more than this? See, if we keep ourselves busy, constantly entertained and constantly distracted, then we never have to face those deep questions. We never have to reflect on our past. We never have to deal with the pain we've buried. We never have to consider that there may be accountability for how we live. And for many people, that's too much. So they keep running away from truth, running into the arms of distractions. But here's the thing. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The world has a pattern, and it's designed to numb you. But God wants to renew you, to transform you. He wants to wake you up, because you're not here by accident. You were created for a reason, handcrafted by God, made in His image, filled with purpose, and called to grow spiritually. But spiritual growth doesn't happen in noise. It happens in quiet. It happens in the still places of the heart. Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us, "He has planted eternity in the human heart." That longing inside you, that ache for something more. It's not for money, not for success, not for approval. It's for Him, the one who planted eternity in your soul. But here's another truth. A lot of us are wearing masks. We perform. We pretend. We smile when we want to cry. We act like we've got it all together, even when we're falling apart inside. And we get so used to the act that we forget who we really are. We become strangers to our own hearts. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, "People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." God's not interested in your mask. He sees through it anyway. He's after the real you. The you that's raw, hurting, confused, imperfect. And He loves you right there. We live in a world obsessed with the outside, with appearances, with filters, with validation. That's why cosmetic procedures and image obsession are at an all-time high. It's not just about vanity, it's about people desperately trying to feel worthy on the outside, because they're not grounded on the inside. But God calls us to something deeper. It's like building a house. You don't start with the bricks, you start with the foundation. And the deeper you dig, the stronger that foundation becomes. Jesus said in Matthew 7:24-25, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock." If your foundation is God, if your foundation is truth, then even when the storms of life hit, you will not fall. because the storms will come. There will be loss. There will be illness. There will be pain and uncertainty and heartbreak. But when you're built on the rock, you won't crumble. The world won't tell you this. The world will tell you to run from pain. Avoid reflection. Stay busy. Keep scrolling. Buy more stuff. Look the part. But it's all a lie. John 8:32 says, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Truth doesn't enslave you, it frees you. When you finally stop, when you finally sit with yourself in silence, when you invite God into those quiet places in your heart, that's where healing happens. That's where you start to let go of the mask. That's where you can breathe again. And maybe for the first time in your life, you'll feel peace. Psalm 139:14 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." That's who you are, not who the world says you are, not who your past says you are. You are God's creation, wonderfully made, with purpose, with value, with identity. So this is your moment. This is your sign. Stop falling for the distractions. Stop falling for the lies. Stop falling for the busyness that's robbing you of your soul. Take a breath. Look inside. Ask the hard questions. Let God speak into your heart. And most of all, remember who you are. You're not here to just survive. You're here to wake up, to live with purpose, to know God, and to become all that He created you to be.